Environmental Science with Min. Hi, today we'll talk about environmental health focusing on water pollution. So let's get started. Will we have enough usable water? So we are using available fresh water unsustainably by wasting it. So lahat tayo nagsasayang ng tubig. Let's face it, yung iba dyan, 2 hours na sa shower, hindi pa rin tapos. Yung iba naman dyan, too much gamitin yung tubig, akala mo, wala, hindi siya nauubusan. So, akala natin hindi nauubos ng tubig kasi mukha siyang hindi nauubos. But in reality, we're running out of water. Well, we're running out of clean water. One of, and one out of 6 people doesn't have sufficient access to clean water, and this situation will almost certainly get worse. As in, lalo pa siyang lalala. It is estimated by 2050 that we will run out of clean water. So, bakit mahalaga ang tubig? Bakit natin siya kailangan natin asikasuhin yan? Bakit tayo dapat magkaroon ng pakialam dito? So, everyday, gumagamit tayo ng tubig. From sa pagtain natin at pag-iihe, pagligo natin, pagluto, pag-inom, paglaban ng mga damit natin. Ang daming ways kung bakit natin ginagamit ng tubig. Hindi lang sa ating pangsarili, kundi sa pag-maintain ng ating environment. Kung walang tubig, walang halaman, walang mga hayop, mauubusan tayo ng pagkain. So bakit pa siya importante? Lahat tayo gumagamit ng tubig halos lahat tayo gumagamit ng tubig. Lahat ng living things. So water is essential prerequisite for social well-being and economic productivity. So imagine niyo, kung nawala ang lahat ng tubig sa buong mundo, so ano na ang magiging raw product natin? Yung mga kotse natin gumagamit ng tubig. Yung mga pagkain natin, mga nasa factory, gumagamit rin ng tubig. Yung paggawa ng mga damit natin, gumagamit rin tayo ng tubig. So everything will cease to exist without water. Therefore, adequate supplies of good quality water should be maintained for the entire population while preserving the hydrological, biological, and chemical functions of the ecosystem. So, human right ang tubig. Lahat tayo karapatan natin magkaroon ng malinis na tubig. So, between 50 and 100 liters of water per person per day ang kailangan natin para mabuhay. Water should cost not exceeding 3 cents per household income. The water source has to be within 1,000 meters from home. Collection time should not be exceeding 30 minutes. So, nangyayari ba yan? Well, depende sa socio-economic status mo. The poorer you are, the harder you would get a clean and accessible water. Ganun rin sa location. So, facts about water. So, around 1.1 billion people globally do not have access to improved water supply. 2.4 billion people do not have access to any type of improved sanitation facility. About 2 million people die every year due to diarrhea. Most of them are children less than 5 years old. And worldwide, 1 out of 5 deaths of children under 5 is due to water-related disease. So ano ba benefits ng pag-inom natin ng tubig? Para sa weight loss, digestion, brain function, skin, headache, cure energy, and bed. So, kung wala tayong tubig, we are ceased to exist. Meron nga sinabi, a person can live without food for 3 months, but we cannot live without water after a week. So the distribution of water. So sa Earth, the Earth consists of 75% water, and those 75%, 3% lang doon ay fresh water. The rest of it is salt water. So freshwater shortage. So yung mga naka-red, yung medyo mataas ang water shortage. Mapapansin nyo in the African area here and in some parts of China. Yan. And medyo sa India, depende sa location. Philippines meron rin, especially in the around yung mga probinsya natin. So bakit ba nagkakaroon ng water shortage? Dahil mainit ang climate, may drought, masyadong maraming tao at maraming nagtatapon ng tubig. In 2050, 60 countries will face kakulangan sa tubig. And 1 out of 7 people will no longer have regular access to clean water. So how can we increase water supplies? So underground water used to supply cities and grow food. It's being pumped from aquifers in some area faster than it is renewed, using dam, reservoir, and other transport systems to provide water to the rigid region has increased water supply in some areas, but has disrupted ecosystem and displaced people. And we can convert salty water to fresh water, but the cost is high and resulting salt brine must be disposed without harming aquatic or terrestrial ecosystem. So basically, may tatlong ways. Sa underground, paggamit ng dam, and pag-convert ng salt water to fresh water. So I won't discuss this, but I'm pretty sure you're already familiarized with the water cycle from the first few chapters of our discussion. So we have three water supplies: rainwater, groundwater, and surface water. So ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng tatlong yan? So ang surface water, yung mga stream, river, while in groundwater, siya yung mga bangin o mga well or spring. While yung rainwater, alam niyo naman, obvious na galing sa ulan. So type of water supply. So level 1 point source, a protected well or a developed spring with an outlet but without distribution system. As in, nakastay lang siya dyan. Hindi siya umaago. So, next. Communal faucet, a system composed of a source, a reservoir, a pipe distribution network. And finally, water port system, a system with the source of a reservoir, pipe distribution network, and has household taps for densely populated urban area. So we have different types of water. Meron tayong mineral water, purified, and distilled. So, iba napapansin nyo pag nag-walk kayo sa mga supermarket, ang daming type ng water. May alkaline, may distilled, may purified, and mineral. Pero, what's the difference between all of those? So, mineral water is distinguished from other types of bottled water. So, may mga traces siya ng mineral. Kaya naman zinc, chlorine. So ang purified naman, siya yung galing sa distillation, deionization, and reverse osmosis. But yung distilled naman, same rin siya sa purified water, pero nag-evaporate siya and condense para to further sanitize the water. So increasing the fresh water supply, withdrawing water underground, dams, reservoir, transporting surface water, desalination, and water conservation. So, ano ba ang advantage pag nag-withdraw tayo sa underground? So, useful siya para sa pag-inom, lagi siyang available, available siya kahit saan, renewable, kung hindi siya ma-over-contaminated or overuse, no evaporation losses, and it's cheaper to extract than most surface water. Pero ang disadvantage nga is aquifer depletion from overpumping. Pwedeng magkaroon ng sinkhole, mag-sinking land. Aquifers is polluted for decades or centuries. Saltwater intrusion into drinking water, and reduce water flow into the surface area. So, paano natin siya ma-prevent ang groundwater depletion? Waste less water, subsidize water conservation, limit number of wells, and do not grow water-intensive crops in dry areas. So, paano natin siya mako-control? Raise the price of water to discourage water waste. Bigyan natin ng tax water pump from well and nearby surface. Set some rules and minimum stream flow levels, and divert surface water in well years to recharge aquifers. So, ito yung example ng water loss. Makikita nyo ito sa Aral Sea Disaster. Yung nakita nyo, marami pa siyang tubig. But after a few decades, naging minimal na lang siya. Ang daming nawalang tubig. See? So, what is desalination? So, siya yung removal of salt sa water para maging drinkable siya. Okay. Ano ba problema sa desalination or pagtanggal ng asin sa tubig? Mahal siya, pwedeng ikamatay ng mga organism, and dahil magkakaroon ng large quantity ng yung mga salt, yung mga tira-tirang salt. So, iisipin nyo kung paano siya i-dispose. So, how can we use water more sustainably? We can use water more sustainably by cutting water waste, raising water prices, slowing population growth, and protecting aquifer forests and other ecosystems. So, every drop counts. So, ito yung mga ways to reduce waste: use less water, preserve water quality, raise prices of water, slow down population. So, ito naman, solution in reducing irrigation waterways. Line canals bringing water to irrigation ditches, irrigate at night to reduce evaporation, monitor soil moisture to add water only when necessary, grow several crops on each plot land, encourage organic farming, avoid growing water-thirsty crops in dry areas, irrigate with treated urban wastewater, and so forth and so on. So, what can you do? Water use and waste. So, I will let you think about it, but some ways, you can do it in a small way. Kagaya lang turning off the faucet, pag nakikita nyo may tulo, minimize yung time ng shower time nyo, i-repair nyo agad yung mga may sira, yung mga tubo. So, there's so many ways to conserve water. Yan, baha. I know this is a very sensitive topic since kakagaling lang natin sa baha and dahil sa typhoon. So, ano nga ba siya? It deposits rich soils on, so basically, siya yung so ano ba nangyayari dito? Human activities worsen flood, filling dams and water diversion. Yung mga hurricanes natin can also cause flood. Climate change can also increase the coastal flooding. So, paano natin ma-reduce ang flooding? Yan. Magandang question yan. We can plant more trees and prevent deforestation. So we can lessen the threat of flooding by protecting more wetlands and natural vegetation. Kasi di ba naalala niyo from the previous chapter that forests will absorb water, thus preventing flood. So what is the benefit of floodplain? It's a highly productive wetland, provides natural flood and erosion control, maintain high water quality, recharge underground fertile soils, nearby rivers for use and recreation, flat lands for urbanization and farming. So how can you reduce flood damage? So prevention, preserve forests sa floodland, preserve and restore wetlands in floodplain, tax development on floodplain, and the use of floodplain primarily for recharging aquifers sustainably in agriculture and forestry. So how can you control? Strengthen and deepen the stream channelization, build leaf or flood walls along the stream and dam. So, paano natin madidil ang water pollution? So, streams can cleanse themselves of many pollutants if we do not overload them and flow. Reducing water pollution requires preventing it, working with nature in treating sewage, cutting resource use, and water, reducing poverty and slowing growth, population growth. So, sinabi ko na siya kanina. So, I'm just repeating it again. So, basically, water pollution is the introduction into fresh or ocean waters of chemical, physical, and biological material that can degrade the quality of water and affects the organism living with it. So, ang mga example ng mga pesticide, mga heavy metals, yung mga plastic na tinatapon natin kung saan. So, ito yung mga major water pollutants, yung mga example, but I won't dwell into that. So, sources of water pollution. Direct point source occurs when the direct polluting substance is emitted directly into the waterway. So, while indirect naman, non-point source, it occurs when there's a runoff of pollutants into the waterway. For instance, when fertilizer from a field is carried into the stream by surface runoff. So, basically, in short, pag direct, still lang siya. Nasa isang lugar lang siya. While yung indirect, siya naman yung medyo yung kumakalat. So, ito yung mga specific sources ng water pollution. Domestic waste, yung mga shampoo natin, yung mga tain natin, yung agricultural runoff, yung mga pesticide, and industrial effluents, yung mga heavy metal na tinatapon ng mga factory. So far, so good, right? So, this is the effect of water pollution. So, give yourself a minute to look at that and try to reflect what's going on. So how does climate change affect our water supply and our health? So nagkakaroon ng climate change, tataas ang temperature or bababa, magkakaroon ng long-term effects such as cold, heat, or magkakaroon ng pollutants, magkakaroon ng mga famine, malnutrition, which can lead to a destruction of crop, contamination of water, food, yung mga acid rain na yan. So, everything in our environment is interconnected. From sociological, physical, mental, financial, they're all going down if we don't take care of this country or this planet. We only have one planet, guys. So we will focus on this: waterborne diseases, foodborne diseases, and vector-borne diseases caused by pollution. So what is waterborne disease? It is caused by pathogenic microorganisms that most commonly are transmitted in contaminated fresh water. So paano siya na contaminate? So halimbawa may taihan, tapos malapit siya sa mga groundwater. So magkakalat yan. So mai-infect yung mga taong makakainom. Pag nakainom yan, magkakaroon ka ng either cholera, typhoid fever, amoeba. So ito pa yung mga sample of bacteria that can cause the waterborne diseases. So water-related diseases, siya naman yung nag-insert ng vector which breeds in the water kung saan namamalagi. Saan sila nagpaparami. Katulad ng mosquito. Kaya nga maraming ina-advise pag meron kayong mga paso sa bahay, itapon yung mga tubig para hindi manirahan ang mga mosquito. So ano ba ang mga sakit na pwedeng makuha sa mosquito? Zika, dengue, West Nile, yellow fever, malaria. While yung water wash disease, siya naman yung nagkakos ng dahil sa poor personal hygiene. Nakakapag-contact siya sa kamay or sa skin dahil sa contaminated water or sa condition or the fresh water ay kulang. Halimbawa, yung mga scabies, yung mga lisa, mga fleas, mga leptospirosis, yung sa mata. So water-based disease is caused by parasite found in water. So, saan siya nanggagaling? Stagnant water behind dams and water channels is ideal for snails. So, diyan ka pwedeng makakuha ng yung sinasabi ko, schistomiasis, lack of proper sanitation and water supply. So, yun. So, ito lang tatandaan nyo. Waterborne ay galing sa mga nakakontaminated na water supply. Water wash dahil pangit yung sanitation natin. Water-related, doon nanganganak at nagpaparami. And water-based, doon yung mga bacteria or mga parasite. So, moving on, stream pollution is also common, and lake pollution. So, moving on, groundwater pollution is sources from a slow dilution disperse, low oxygen level, and fewer bacteria. So, in a long scale for natural cleansing, degradable waste, organic matter, slowly degradable waste. So, basically, ito yung mga groundwater pag nagko-contaminate. So, ano ba solution? Find substitute for toxic materials, keep the toxic chemicals out of the environment, install monitoring wells near the landfill and underground tanks, requires leak detectors on underground tanks, and ban hazardous waste disposal in landfills and injection wells. Clean up, pump to surface, clean and return the aquifer, inject microorganisms, clean up contamination, pump nanoparticles of inorganic compounds to remove pollutants. So, ito yung ocean pollution. Coastal areas are highly productive ecosystem. Occupies 40% of population. Coastal population will double by 2050 na mapapansin yung pangalan sa Mall of Asia. Iba kung marapit siya sa coastal area. So, ang daming mga high-rise na nagpapatayo doon. So, most likely, in 2015, it will be highly polluted. So, ocean dumping and mga algae in oxygen-depleted zones. So, So, ano epekto ng oil sa pollution on ocean ecosystem? It can destroy larvae, it can destroy the fishes. Pag nag-over up yung oil sa karagatan, magkakaroon ng mabablock yung sunlight. So, pag na-block yung sunlight, mawawala ng source of food yung mga corals. Pag nawala ng source of food ng corals, mamamatay yung corals, which in return, masisira yung mga palaisdaan. So, current methods to recover no more than 15%. Prevention is the most effective method. So, paano nila respond yan? By dispersion, by burning, and by steaming. So, let's look each one of them. So, by chemical dispersion is achieved by applying chemical designated to remove oil from water. While in burning mass, susunugin niya yung mga oil para lumubog na siya. While yung naman steaming is achieved with boats equipped with floating steamer designated to remove the thin layers of oil from the surface, often with the help of booms. Yung booms are long floating banners used to contain or prevent the spread of oil. So, ano solution natin? Prevention, reduce the toxic pollutants, separate sewage from storm lines, ban the dump of waste and sewage by ship, ban ocean dumping, regulate coastal development, and require double halt. So clean up. So improve the oil spill cleanup capacity, use nanoparticles, sewage, and oil spill to dissolve oil and sewage. Require secondary treatment of sewage, and use wetland, solar, aquatic, or other methods to treat sewage. Okay, moving on. So what are the characteristics of water? So physical, chemical, and radiological. So this is the way to test our water. Kailangan natin i-check yung physical contaminants nga kung meron ba siyang mga malalaking particles sa loob ng water. Biological, kung meron ba siyang bacteria. Chemical, kung anong mga chemical ang nasa tubig. And radiation. As in, kung meron galing ba siya sa radiation field. Kung may traces ba siya ng mga argon. And stuff like that. Okay. What are the physical characteristics of water? So, ano yung tinitingnan natin sa water? Tinitingnan natin turbidity, kung measurement of light transmitting properties of water. Pag malinaw siya, ibig sabihin ng kung malinaw or malabo. Pag malinaw siya, most likely safe siya. Most likely. But, pag madilim siya, so marami siyang contaminants. Color, titignan nila kung clear siya. Taste, and order, kung mabaho ba siya or hindi. Kasi pag mabaho siya, meron siyang most likely mga bacteria or may mga bacteria siya. So, chemical characteristic of water, so, titignan nila kung acidic, basic, matigas ba siya, or maalat. Yun ang tinitignan. So, ano bang accepted level to neutralize water? So, around 6.5 to 8.5. But mostly dapat 7. Hardness, due to calcium and magnesium, it's an indicator to industry of potential precipitation of calcium carbonate in cooling towers and boilers. So, pag hard water is less corrosive than soft. and salinity kung maalat siya. Ito yung mga biological characteristics. So it refers to the presence of microorganism, parasites, halimbawa mga parasite, bacteria. So tinitingnan nyo, including mga plankton, insect, crustacean larva. So ito yung range na kailangan para ma-classify na safe. Pag 0 to 8 lang, clean water siya. Pag 8 to 20, slightly polluted. 20 to 60, polluted water. And 60 to 100, grossly polluted water. So radiational characteristic of water. It results from nuclear weapon testing. Some man-made substance may also appear drinking water supplies from process facility, mining areas, and nuclear power plants. So ito pa yung mga parameter na tinetest. So tinetest natin yung biological oxygen demand, which indicates yung biodegradable waste is untreated. So pag 1 and 2, good siya. Pag 3 and 5, okay lang. 6 to 9, mahina siya, medyo polluted. And 100 or more, talagang polluted na talaga siya. So the harder the microorganism work, the more oxygen they use. And the higher the measurement of the biological oxygen demand. So, ang idea natin is just 1 milligram per liter. So, basically, we're measuring yung oxygen consumed by microorganisms. While chemical oxygen demand is used to test wastewater that contains non-biodegradable compounds or compounds that inhibit microbial activities. High value indicates high level of organic pollutants. So total solids naman refers to the matter suspended or dissolved in water or wastewater. So ito yung calculation niya, but we are not gonna do that. So TSS is the total solid remained by filter, and TDS is total solid that passed through filter. High levels can be a result for health problems. Next, chloroform. It's used as an indicator of organism, indicates fecal contaminant, cause of contamination dahil sa mga septic tank failure, poor pasture, animal keeping, pagkasira sa distribution system. Next, nitrogen and phosphorus compound is essential for the growth of microorganisms and plants. Excess amount can lead to eutrophication, heavy input of inorganic nutrients to the surface water to promote the growth of weeds and algae in slow-moving surface water. So, sinecheck rin natin yung mga heavy metal, oil and grease kung meron. pH, remember, pure water is 7. Temperature. So, kaya natin sinecheck yung temperature. The solubility of oxygen decreases with increasing temperature. The rate of biological activity doubles every 10 to 15 Celsius rise and decrease within the range of 5 to 35. So, how prevention? Paano natin ma-prevent ng contamination? So, isipin yung water quality control, yung mga laging constant inspection sa mga water quality, mga lagyan ng chlorine para masanitize kahit paano ang mga pools or some parts of the body of water, and proper excreta disposal or kung saan yung mga tae. Diba napansin niyo sa squatter area, sa estero lang sila tumatae. Direkta sa mga ilog. So, ito yung purifying water. May nag-invento ng mga live straw kahit contaminated yung water, napipilter niya para na magkakaroon ng clean, accessible water. So, ito yung mga sewage system. How can it be done? Water purification, production of hygienically safe and aesthetically pleasing water from a polluted, contaminated source. Pwedeng gumamit ng evaporation, aerialization, gravity, and biological force. Water can be purified by distillation and reverse osmosis. So, pag distillation, siya yung gumagamit ng heat na binevaporize nga and kinocondense nga. While reverse osmosis, the water is forced through membranes that removes 90% of dissolved mineral. So, ito yung mga sewage plant. I won't go into details that. So, paano siya may improve? System that exclude hazardous and toxic chemicals requires business to remove harmful chemicals before sewage sent to treatment plant, reduce or eliminate use of toxic materials, compost toilet system, wetland-based sewage treatment. So I won't dwell into this, but ito yung mga sample purification process. So moving on. So this is ito yung law na nagpro-protect sa atin for water sanitation. So the standard, sinasabi dito, the standard for drinking water, biologically and chemical examination, evaluation of a result conform to the national drinking water standard. Treatment water, disinfection of contaminated water source, distribution of system conform with procedure of POH. Site of water source, delivery of water to consumer, operation, plant, and specification of water system, and certification for portability of drinking water should be approved by the Secretary of Health. Initial and periodic examination are required for drinking water, or examination should be performed only in private and government laboratories accredited by DOH. So, to protect drinking water from being contaminated, the following measurements should be observed. Pag maglalaba kayo or bathing halin sa sapa, dapat 25 meters away from well or other drinking source. No artesian, deep, or swallow well shall be constructed within 25 meters of any source of pollution. So, halimbawa, gusto mo magpatayo ng well, bawal malapit sa mga cause ng pollution. No radioactive source materials should be stored within 25 meters from a well. No person charged with the management of public water system shall be permitted any physical connection between its distribution system and other water supplies unless the latter is regularly examined as to its quality by those in charge is made and found to be safe and portable. Installation of booster pumps to boost water direct from water distribution line of water supply where water pressure prevails is prohibited. So that would end our discussion. So any questions? So if you have questions, feel free to message me. So I'll end the lecture. So see you next week. Bye guys.